Well, with that, welcome to the Rotary Club of Fresno. Wanted to have some little fun to start our meeting off here. We are the 203rd Club of Rotary International, and I'm excited to welcome all of you here today. I unfortunately don't like starting this way, but we're going to start off with a bit of sad news, and I want to take a moment of silence if we can. But Mr. Cliff Hennett, who is been a member of ours for many years, who actually personally sat at my table there. You guys might have got the note here earlier that he is very ill and expected to pass today. So if everybody would just take a quick moment here to put his family and himself in your thoughts right now. Again, I don't like starting meetings with that kind of news, but it's unfortunately just the nature of what's going on right now. With that, we're going to put everybody, I think we got everybody on mute right now. So if you want to speak, make sure you unmute yourself, and we will, you can easily do that yourself, or we can do that if we need to help with that. I know we have some guests. Anna has probably put that, have you put that already, Anna, in the comment section? Perfect. So it's already in the comment section. We're trying to do that so you guys all can check that out there. So please, I want to recognize our guests. Thank you so much for being with us. The speakers will be notarized here in just a little bit, but I appreciate all of you and joining us today. And we have a great turnout for our meeting. As I mentioned last week, I wanted to make sure that, going forward, I know we may be stuck with this platform for a little longer than most of us would probably like to be stuck in the Zoom format. So we got to have some fun with it. And with that, I want to have some kind of competition beginning next week with our backgrounds. And for some of us that don't understand how to put those virtual backgrounds on, as we were talking about earlier, I've asked Mr. Joe Denham to walk us through what it takes to do a Zoom background. As you can see, Joe is in the, looks like at the beach right now. And I've seen him with sharks and everything else. But Joe, you want to walk us through how this all happens?
We're ready? Okay. So can you turn my screen? How do I do the screen sharing?
Let me see. I think Anna made you a co-host.
Somebody has to let me. I'm disabled. They don't trust me.
Give me 1 second. Let's see.
Ryan, where Anna has to do that. They have the authority.
I think let's see here. And I can't figure out how to give him authority.
He's got the authority on the bottom there and your green, it says share screen. Joe, just click on that and share your screen.
I'll try it again.
Ryan, because I'm an overachiever, I just changed my background.
Host disabled participant screen sharing. I am not.
Hey, Lena taught me how to do it.
Here, Joe, this should fix it.
I'll try again.
Yeah, now try again. You should be able to have it.
Okay. Screen share.
There we go.
So people can see my screen now?
We can see it.
Okay, I didn't imagine that the settings would move. Okay, so you go to your video settings. It's normally down on the bottom corner. Can everybody see my mouse here? Down here when you have your whole screen up. But because I'm sharing, my video settings are up here. Go to the little arrow next to where it says stop video or whatever it says about video and click choose virtual background. I've loaded up this beach one. Let's see what else I have in my pictures so I can put a new virtual background up. So you click the little plus, click add image. Oh, here's a nice one.
I don't even know. Why would you have that on your screen? What kind of pictures do you
I have
save?
a lot of pictures in my computer. I don't know what it was doing there. It's that simple. So once again, I'll run through it again for everybody. Go to the little arrow, scroll down to choose virtual background, hit the plus sign, add image, and there's my dog. And then you can switch it around during things. So this is one of my favorite things is when you're bored in a Zoom meeting, you Google search someone's name and the town they live in, and then click images and then save that image to your computer. And then without saying anything about why you've done it, change your background to their face. See how long it takes on someone to notice.
So with that, basically, I wanted to show that it's extraordinarily easy to do this. We've seen some good ones. I see Blair's there. He switched it to the multiple BBB one. Please, for next week, what I'm saying is that we would love to have I don't know, I haven't figured out the aspects of the competition, but let's just say the winner, it's going to be worth it. We're going to have fun with it. So figure out your favorite Zoom background. We're going to try to have everybody virtual next week with a crazy background. I see a couple. I see an awesome City of Fresno one. So it's something that you can choose any picture you want, do something creative. I think you can do videos as well, but do something fun. And next week we'll have a competition to see who has the most creative or the fun background there. With that, Joe, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we're going to move on now. We are going to have a Zoom bomb, but unfortunately they're going to be after our speaker. So I just want to give everybody a heads up that we're going to have somebody pop in after we have our speaker here. But I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Darren Rose, who is going to introduce our speaker for the day.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. Today the topic is community choice energy, and our speakers are Al Galvez and Destiny Rodriguez. Al is the president of Almani Energy and a former executive with PG&E, where he worked for 25 years. Al served on the Madera Unified School Board for 4 years, 2 years as the president of the board. He is a respected voice on energy policy and well-known in the Central Valley. Destiny has worked in the nonprofit sector for nearly 14 years and is an experienced director of communications, demonstrated history within the nonprofit organization and management industry. She's skilled in environmental awareness, policy analysis, and public relations. She's here today to join Al to talk about community choice energy. She is with the Climate Center. So, folks, over to you.
Thank you, Darren. I'm going to have Al go ahead and speak. I believe he's on. He was having a little difficulty getting on. Are you on, Al?
There I am.
Al?
Heard you for a brief moment, Al, and can't hear you right now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
There you go. I didn't recognize that young man. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on behalf of CCA. When I was with PG&E back in the, well, I've been retired quite a few years now, but one of the charges that my department had, which is public affairs, was taking a look at community choice aggregation. It had just kind of kicked off around 2005 in Marin County, and they had opened up their shop there. But as it moved up into the valley, right around, I think around 2008, David Orth from the KRCD, Kings River Conservation District, had formed a JPA with several cities in Fresno County to kind of take a look at CCA. And those as I recall, most of those cities were like Clovis, Kerman, Parlier, Kingsburg, Selma, Reedley. They had formed a JPA to really take a good hard look at CCA. And from a perspective of PG&E, our interest was just to kind of figure out ourselves what CCA was all about. Even though the law had passed around 2002, it was new to us. And so our charge was just to kind of monitor it, provide information about it, and just kind of keep an eye on it to see where it was going. Of course, PG&E didn't want to lose any market share, but under the rules and the law, we were supposed to take a position of neutrality, which we did. And so we just kind of, for about 2 years, we kind of listened to some of the if you want to call it some positive aspects of CCA. And we provided some information to the cities and to CCA, and they were moving forward. Fortunately for PG&E, and unfortunately for the San Joaquin Valley Power Authority, the economy took a turn. And that was around 2008, 2009, and it got scrapped. So CCA in the valley kind of disappeared. It has come back in the last couple of years, as probably Destiny probably mentioned to you. It's come back in the last several years. But as I sat there for about 2 years listening to some of these things and really learning more and more about community choice, it really opened my eyes to the opportunities that cities and or JPAs had in order to form a community choice aggregation for themselves, and the benefits that are there. And I think Stephanie will probably kind of go over those benefits, but I'll touch upon a little bit about it. You know, it gives you the opportunity to really kind of look at it from the perspective of buying power on your own. And with that, you can also provide services to your communities that you feel that your community may need. For an example would be that if you felt that certain aspects of a certain community might need energy services or special services or installation, you could package that deal within the power that you have, and doing that on your own, specifically for your city and or county, depending on who's gonna be in charge of it. So there are some positive aspects of it. I think it's something that really cities in this area really need to look at. It doesn't really, oh, what's going to turn on my video? Okay, see if it happens. There it is. It does work. So I just really want to make sure that from my perspective, I learned a lot about, there's a lot of positives to it. At the time, there was some uncertainty because it was new. Marina, again, was the only county at the time that was really kind of pushing it. And I thought KRCD and the Joint Power Authority did a very good job of explaining to all the cities that were involved. The city of Fresno at the time was taking the position of let's kind of look and see what's going on. We're not really sure about this. And of course, from a PG perspective, we did our marketing and try to keep the city of Fresno from entering that prospect until more information was provided. And as I mentioned, unfortunately, for KRCD and the Joint Power Authority, it just didn't happen. But as you look at it now, that more and more cities and JPRs are forming around the state, you'll see a lot of positive aspects, and it allows you to buy the power where you want to buy the power. The rates can be determined by the local authority, the elected officials, and that's what they're elected for. And it gives them the opportunity to really kind of see what they want to do, where they want to buy their power. Is it solar? Is it wind? Is it is it natural gas? It gives you the opportunity to do that and really look at it from that perspective. You're the one procuring the power, and so there are some benefits to that. You also can see some benefits from the rates that you can charge. That's up again totally up to the authority that decides to do that. So from my perspective and learning what I learned, I just thought that everything that I had heard and I see again developing, it's an opportunity for cities and counties and folks in the local communities to really kind of focus that this is a good thing. Really study it hard, really understand what it means and what it means to your community in regards to having an opportunity to buy the power that you decide to buy it and who you want to buy it from. And it does not going to reflect anything on your power bill or anything. Nothing changes. The customers remain with PG&E in regards to the transmission of the customers, the distribution of the customers. The only thing changes is that the authority who's developed basically buys the power and sells it to your customers, and that's it. There's nothing else change. Nothing else changes. The bill still comes to PG&E. Everything's done through PG&E in this case because of the valley, but it's just a positive aspect from my eyes that I got to view for the couple of years that I was really studying really hard, attending the meetings. And as I mentioned, I thought the Joint Power Authority here locally had done a very good job. And I really thought that it was going to go somewhere. Unfortunately, as I said, the economy changed and it didn't fly. But again, as I mentioned earlier, if you look at other cities that are developing this and looking at it, there was a lot of positives. And I think that's the opportunity that people need to look at, the positive side of this whole thing that can help communities develop their own designs of how they want to provide the power to their customers and where to buy basically the generation part of it, and how to develop other aspects of it to help their communities and the underserved communities if that's what they want to do. So in a nutshell, that's it. And I think I turn it over back to you, Destiny. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Al. I'm going to go ahead and share screen. I have a PowerPoint for you all to look at. So just 1 minute. Get that going. Okay, let's see. And, all right, here we go. So community choice energy. And I just wanted to say hi and good afternoon to everyone. I hope everyone is staying safe and is healthy right now during this very uncertain time. And I just wanted to come today to talk to you about community choice energy. It is a very, very innovative program that I think can bring a lot of economic revenue and relief to this area. And again, I am the the regional community relations person for the Climate Center. The Climate Center is a 501c3 nonprofit. And let me just go ahead and dive into community choice energy. So much like Al said, it's an alternative energy provider. It's a local program that can buy and generate electricity for businesses and residents. It was enabled by law back in 2002. So it's been around for quite some time, even though it is fairly a new concept to this area. And again, it does partner with the investor-owned utilities such as PG&E. PG&E is still responsible for delivering your energy, as well as delivering your bill every month, and making sure that the transmission lines are safe and and upgraded. So this is a nice little visual that I like because it really just is very simply explaining what community choice energy is in a nutshell. It essentially just concentrates and is responsible for the buying, building, and generation of the electric supply. And again, PG&E would deliver and maintain the lines and of course give you your bill every month. The one thing I do want to say that is very different and unique about it is that when you do pay your bill every month, those local dollars do leave our economy. But with community choice energy, those dollars stay in our local economy and it can be reinvested back through community tailored programs and incentives for businesses. So community choice energy. What is it? So here are 3 different models that I like to present to people. This is the investor-owned utility, PG&E. We're very familiar with this model. It's always been, and you know, it's just something that we're accustomed to. Public utilities such as SMUD, they're also again responsible for everything: energy generation, purchasing, rate setting, transmission lines, all of that. Community choice energy is essentially a hybrid between the two. And again, the responsibility is the generation and the purchasing, the rate setting. And those things are very, very powerful and can be utilized through local government. So why should you care? Why am I talking about this? Community choice energy, again, it's an alternative energy provider. So now you have a choice of who your energy provider is, and that literally does put power back into your hands. There are energy cost savings with the programs because you can tailor programs. You have the accessibility to shape how you want this community choice energy agency to look like and how do you want it to fit the needs of the community or your local businesses. It also, again, gives the opportunity to partner on local energy projects because the agency essentially would be the governing authority, which would be the city or the county or possibly a joint powers authority between the two. And again, it creates market opportunities. Market opportunities equal economic opportunities for your business. So where is this happening? This is actually happening in half of our state of California. Half of our state is already implementing community choice energy, as you can see. The Central Valley, we're actually the half that's not. And it's kind of interesting to me because we need to start taking advantage of this opportunity, because I can tell you many of the large and small scale solar projects in the Central Valley are contracted by community choice energy agencies. They're taking advantage of our solar, so why aren't we? We also deserve affordable, reliable, and clean energy. There are currently 21 operational agencies of community choice energy in the state of California. That equates to over 160 cities, over 20 counties, and hundreds of elected officials all agree that this is something that is benefiting their area. So currently, community choice energy serves more than 10 million customers in our state, and it provides power sources for more than half of PG&E's load, which is incredible. I also put CalCCA on here if people are interested. They do update their stats, so it's a great resource. Excuse me, it's a great resource. And also wanted to let everyone know to go to our website as well, theclimatecenter.org, or you can go to Clean Power Exchange if you want to just do a deeper dive into community choice energy. Here are some examples of some of the CCA agencies. And again, they can be governed a few different ways, and Al mentioned some of them. City can be single jurisdiction. If the city is large enough and they want to go on their own, they can do their own CCA. For example, the city of Fresno right now is looking into CCA. They're considering it. And if they were to do it, they could actually do it on their own because they are large enough. But there are benefits to joining with a joint powers authority. Joint powers authority do have more purchasing power, and also it incorporates unincorporated areas as well if you are doing a JPA with the county, because we want to make sure that all our communities are being served. So I talked about some of the benefits of community choice energy, but really what it does is it builds the capacity of local government to deal with natural disasters and power shutoff events, and very much, you know, the pandemic that we're experiencing right now. I can tell you that the community choice energy agencies, once COVID hit, they were all very, very proactive. While we were all kind of still scrambling around trying to figure out what to do, they took the initiative to make sure to put monies aside to help their communities and to provide COVID relief. Some examples are Silicon Valley Clean Energy. They dedicated $10 million to COVID relief. And also $100 bill credit for their care and fair customers, as well as a $250 bill credit for small businesses. Something like that can definitely help, especially when you're not certain when your business is going to open again. Another example is East Bay Community Energy. They provided $300,000 in community grants. And this is, again, this is something that we could utilize and we should be utilizing. Other benefits, again, local control, transparency. Now you have the ability to have a conversation with the decision-making body, with the governing authority. You can input your own opinions of how you think this community choice energy agency should be shaped. And it also, again, it gives you enhanced public participation. So what are the risks? With anything, there's always going to be risk. But despite the regulatory, legislative, and market risks, these community choice energy agencies are still providing cost savings. They're still providing innovative programs for their communities and incentives for their customers and local businesses. And like anything, with risk, there is reward, and this does bring reward, especially in the market, because again, we're bringing competition to the marketplace where this had not existed. So how much exactly are we talking about? as far as cost savings. I'll show you. $90 million in cost savings across all the community choice energy agencies. That's a lot of dollars. That's a lot of savings. And especially right now, we could use a lot of this economic relief, especially for our area. So our organization did an economic study back in 2016, just to kind of see what the potential revenues would be for Fresno County, what we could essentially reap. And we found that it's roughly about $300 million annually that leaves our county every year. If we had a community choice energy agency, that $300 million would take a U-turn, and that money can come back again into our local economy. We can use that existing revenue stream to help create programs and relief aid for local businesses, for residents. There's just so much we could do with that money. So community choice energy is starting to get buzz in the valley. Again, I had mentioned Fresno was interested in the process. They're actually currently talking about doing a technical study. When that will come out, hopefully soon. You know, prior to COVID, we were getting an RFP ready to put out, but you know, for obvious reasons, priorities have shifted at the city. But I do think that we need to start revisiting this conversation again. And if you agree, I also encourage you to reach out to your council members and your elected leaders and let them know this is the time to start reevaluating this model. And again, what can you do? Well, my team here in Fresno is me, myself, and I. I work and live here locally. I'm a resource for you, so if you would like to have one-on-one conversations and a deeper dive about community choice energy, I would love to do a coffee Zoom with you. I'm a phone call away, but really what you can do is help us spread the word of community choice energy, help us educate businesses. People are not aware of this model, and they should be. And again, we need to encourage our elected leaders to start looking at community choice energy and start evaluating it more seriously. Another thing that you can do today, if you like everything that I'm talking about, is you can sign on to our Friends of Community Choice Energy list, which is basically a list of supporters that agree that it's time that we need to start evaluating community choice energy. It's not necessarily saying that you support community choice energy, but you support the evaluation of looking into this further. We also are working on a Climate Safe California campaign for the Climate Center. And I would encourage you all to please consider endorsing because we do need to accelerate our timelines and policies to protect our home state. Here's my information. If you would like to reach out to me, that is my cell phone number. So like I said, I'm very accessible. If you would like to have a one-on-one conversation, I would love to talk to you. And I am happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Destiny. One of the questions I got here, you kind of went over it, but maybe if you could more explicitly describe the the true savings to the consumer. I know there's the discussion about that it is money that then stays in now in the economy, but on top of that, what is some of the savings that you would see as an actual ratepayer?
As an actual ratepayer, I can say that across the board, it's about like 3 to 4% of community choice energy on average of customer savings. But really, it depends on the community choice energy agency. Each one is different. So if priority is cost savings, then that's what you're going to see out of your community choice energy agency. And if that's something that we want to see is more cost savings, then that's something that we can definitely shape into the equation. Great.
I see a question from Rick. What is rapid decarbonization?
Rapid decarbonization. I don't know if we have a whole lot of time to go into the science of it, but basically what we're asking is that we need to lower our greenhouse gas emissions. rapid decarbonization is essentially lowering your greenhouse gas emissions, lowering vehicle emissions, ground level ozone, all of those things that we unfortunately breathe in our day-to-day lives in the air. We just want to make less of it.
Hi, Destiny. Frank Lopez from the Business Journal.
Oh, hi.
Yes, my question is, you had a slide that there was an increase in jobs. I was just wondering if those jobs would also be increased specifically in the energy industries, and especially here in the Central Valley.
I would say so. I say that it does give the opportunity for job creation. I can tell you across the board with the 21 community choice agencies, there have been over 4,200 jobs created just within those CCAs. And it does give the potential of generating new jobs in the solar industry and also the renewable energy field. Did that answer your question, Frank?
Sorry, I muted myself again. Yes, thank you. I was just kind of looking to see how that would play out. Thank you, Destiny.
How, let's see here, how, if at all, is this designed to help our ag industries who pay substantial sums for power, for water, et cetera, specifically energy? So how does it benefit businesses and large energy users?
I think it can benefit ag tremendously. I do know that up north, many of the wineries up there are supporters of community choice energy because it does help with cost savings on water pumps. You know, you can do solar water pumps, do a program for that through CCA. Also, again, you have a seat at the decision-making table, so you can talk about rate settings. You can have those conversations about what exactly types of incentives or programs that you want to see for ag. And again, it does give the opportunity of also, sorry, the little bings are a little distracting. It also gives the opportunity of, you know, creating and partnering with the local agency to create new energy projects, which, you know, some of those can be through ag. So again, the possibilities are endless, and really that's why I'm here today, so that people can provide this type of feedback. It's needed at the city so that we can start shaping this to where it needs to be at.
Well, thank you, Destiny and Al. Appreciate so much for joining us today. This was one of those presentations that was delayed because of COVID, and we moved it to the online format. So we appreciate you joining us virtually today to explain more about this. And as Destiny said, she's completely open for those folks that would like to learn more. Please contact her directly, and she would be happy to connect with you. Now, before I jump on to my next guest, I got to ask Curtis. I don't know, Curtis, if you could unmute, but if you want to introduce us to the little grandson there, that's pretty adorable. I was talking about virtual backgrounds, but I think that might beat the virtual backgrounds.
Well, I saw a cat on the screen, so I thought I had to trump that. This is Owen. He's 8 months old. We are in Nebraska visiting family there right now, and enjoying our time, relieving the parents who are working at home and just having a blast. So that's who he is, Owen Stephen Schling. Thank you, Brad.
Yeah, it is so nice to meet little Owen there.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Curtis. For what part of Nebraska?
Omaha.
Omaha, perfect. Well, I know Miss Shirley out there loves that. I think she's still on. So.
Oh yeah, I think I saw her. Yeah. Shirley.
Shirley has to like me right now. Two Nebraskas in 2 weeks. So I mean, I think I'm doing pretty good there. So
yeah.
Well, so much great to share the grandbaby with us. Appreciate seeing them. And with that, I'm gonna move on. Our surprise guest, Megan. You're on right now, aren't you? I got Megan Roop with our local CBS affiliate.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
We can hear you perfectly. Thank you for joining us. She just got off of the news here on the 12 to 12:30. So she joined us and jumped right on here afterwards.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry I missed the presentation. I caught the tail end of Destiny's presentation there. And I see, oh my gosh, I see messages. Chris Roop with NAMI Fresno. That's fabulous. We spell our last names a little bit differently, but we've chatted over this similar type of platform as well. So that's awesome. Hi, Chris. I just saw that chat pop up and love the grandbaby. Isn't it amazing? We can all chat from Nebraska and Fresno to the audio booth, the beautiful audio booth at our CBS 47 KC24 studios. Just a little background, and then we can, however you want to direct it, Ryan, but so happy to pop in. When Ryan Jacobson asks you to do anything, you say yes, because he is just our go-to guy. Any reporter who's ever been out in the field with an ag-related story, a question on any kind of crop or crises or anything, we go to Ryan, and he always makes time for us. So thank you to Ryan, and super happy to pop in and hopefully end your meeting on a positive note. But just a little background, I'm the morning anchor here at CBS 47. So some early mornings now for me, really, really early, almost farmer hours, maybe kind of close. But before that, had the honor of working as a weekend anchor, a reporter at KC24, work nights. So I've done quite the schedule switch in the past 9 months, from nighttime to now morning. And then started my career here in Fresno as a weekend MMJ. I had done 3 consecutive internships with KC24, one with KC, and then another with KC, and then another with, when they were combined and had become a duopoly, KC24, CBS 47, and that was more of an investigative internship. And from there, I just said, hey, please why don't you just start paying me? I'm already here and really embedded into this workplace. And so they did. Chad McCollum, who was the wonderful news director at that time. Now we have awesome Lisa Berger, and Chad somehow believed in me a little bit, and that's where we got the start. So it's been a wonderful 6 years, and now just an interesting time in media, dealing with first the past 4 months of COVID-19 and this pandemic. And just an explosion of racial tension like we haven't seen since Martin Luther King Jr. was alive, and then back to the pandemic kind of resurging. And so we're dealing with it, I think, as quickly as we can, with the rapidness of social media as well, also posing a challenge, and just how fast information is disseminated into our culture. And but I will say, just like the Rotary Club of Focus is these projects that better your community, I like to think of my everyday as kind of a project to get a message out and try to make voices heard. So with that, very happy to pop in and very honored.
And one thing, Megan, that I think this group needs to know is the fact that, I mean, you are a hometown girl. The fact that is that in today's media world, we don't have a lot of that. There's a lot of folks that go all over the place, but it's really awesome to have you, raised right here in the Central Valley, and most importantly, Fresno State Bulldog. I know you were very involved in your, over in the MassCom, or whatever it is called now, over at
Nailed
Fresno
it.
State. Yep.
That's what it is. You got it.
But you definitely are a true Bulldog at heart. I know you do still do a lot to give back to the university.
Yes. Anytime that they invite me back, I always talk too much. It's one of my skills, is talking too much. So probably bore the students over there when they invite me to come back. But just an honor, Faith Sidlow, Betsy Hayes, some incredible educators there, people that poured into my life. Basically, my dad said, hey, Megan, Fresno State or Fresno State? You decide where you're going. So it was Fresno State, and it was a wonderful decision, because I always tell students, you never look down on your home, because that's going to give you so many opportunities to connect and be embedded in your home. So it's really cool. It's just very cool to be a grad and then continue many relationships that I've had in college, during college interviews, now as a professional. So that has been just fantastic.
Yeah. And
Buchanan High School too. Buchanan, and then grew up in Dinuba a little bit as well. So familiar with many of I know the agriculture, got to grow up in the middle of some of it there, go to elementary school in Dinuba, and just all over this valley that we're so proud of. We're so proud of.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you talked about some of the hot stories of the day, but the fact is COVID definitely dominates right now. And for you, from the media side, it's got to be difficult to look for the different angles at this point. I mean, we're 5 months into this whole thing, and at some point, I mean, I know a lot of us has to give credit to you journalists for trying to come up to trying to come up with the unique stories of these issues.
Yes, and I think I acknowledge that right now. I think people maybe don't feel happy with the national media, and they want less of a bias in reporting, and they don't want to hear an opinion. They don't want to hear commentators. They want to hear facts. They want to know numbers. And I really commend local media for being so different. I always tell people, we're not your big name national, we're your local. We're the people that are attending the board meetings, and we're covering your water problems. We really are directly communicating with the community. In fact, on my Instagram, when the pandemic really started taking hold, because we had heard about it in March, this Wuhan, people being quarantined in their apartment buildings, we'd heard about it then. But when it really started taking hold here in the US, I started a series on my Instagram page called Community on COVID-19. And we talked, I would just do long form interviews, kind of like how we're chatting right now with, we did business owners when PPE was first starting to, or the different business loans were first starting to come into play for business owners, talks with, actually we did with pain, drug treatment group, because for drug addicts, this isolation was detrimental for them and their health if they were trying to recover from addiction. Being alone, actually the top two things that make users relapse: isolation and boredom. So talk to a local group addressing those needs, trying to use Zoom to still reach out to their those that they work with. Talked with just the community, bringing the voice of the community forward. So I think with COVID, there has been, every day we see a new way that this pandemic is impacting our community. And it's frightening. I mean, we've seen crime rates go up. There are more stories out there. I wonder, something I have to look into is how, with maybe no school, what's going to happen with teachers, mandatory reporters for child abuse. What's going to happen to those kids that don't have a teacher looking out for them? So many things, there's always an angle in a way that, especially something as big as this, impacts your community and can have a trickle effect too. So I think we're just, journalists, especially local journalists, have been running on full cylinder for months, and going into work, or our reporters are working from home. Some of us, we've made our staff really small. I'm in a little room here, so I have my mask with me, but I'm not wearing it in this room. But we all have to wear a mask when we're in the newsroom, and we have to social distance on set, and all the precaution and safety measures in place here, and a lot of people working from home, producers and reporters as well.
Yeah. Well, Megan, thank you so much for dropping in today. We'll give you a virtual clap there, but appreciate all you. Definitely thank you so much for dropping in today.
This has been awesome.
Well, we lost you. Some reason your mic went on mute there, but appreciate you so much.
Sorry, I think I was trying to say thank you in my hand motions there or something. Sorry, you guys. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, Megan. Appreciate it. Bye. And with that, I'm going to jump into next week. We have a very special guest. We got Ruben Navardi, who is the syndicated columnist who grew up in Sanger, California, now resides down in San Diego. He is the most read Latino on a weekly basis. The guy is absolutely amazing. Please invite guests. We'd love to see you all here next week for a great showing. And with that, the Rotary Club of Fresno meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Megan.
Bye. Take care, you guys.